the reason there has been a shift. Point E, why, and this is not all the shifts, that's just kind of painting the picture for you. Why are things changing? What has caused all of this to go topsy-turvy? Well, things have changed. Number one, I'm going to give you four things that have changed right here. Distribution has changed. The only thing in the past was emphasized right there was bookstores. The only thing was bookstores, but now 70% of book sales occur online. Well, in the past, what that means is you needed a traditional publisher because if you're going to sell your book, you're going to have to sell it in a bookstore. There's not another place to sell it. But now, even with Sam's and Walmart and Costco and all the books that are available at those places, even the fact that you can buy a book at a gift shop or in an airport, 70% of the book sales occur not in a bookstore. That has leveled the playing field on so many ways. Number two thing that's changed is royalty. The game changes if you hit the magic number of 1,000 copies. I don't even think you got to sell 1,000 for the game to change, but I'm going to show you how 1,000 copies, if you make that your goal, it is a life-changing sum of money. And again, if you're doing bumps and upsells and some of the things that we teach you how to do in some of the other training, as you would find in the offers and advanced offers courses that I'm going to link down in the bottom. If you look at how to do that through the advanced offers course, through the advanced offers training, you can see, hey, it's life changing, even if you don't hit 1,000 copies. Let me show you what I mean by way of a chart here. In the middle right there, the left column is the self-publishing route. On the right is the traditional. So let's just go line by line. And let's just say you get an advance, and the advance is $10,000 for traditional publishing. Now, we've talked about the strings that might be, not necessarily are, but might and probably will be attached to that advance. Self-publishing, there is no advance. You get out there and you do the work. The retail price for the book is going to be the same, though. Again, people don't necessarily care when they're reading the book if it's helpful, if it takes them from the problem they have to the potential they want to arrive at. If your book becomes that bridge, your book is the solution. They don't care if it was published by, let me just open up a book. I don't have one in reach. They don't care where it came from. They care about the content. Price is the same. Now, with traditional publishing, the royalty here, again, my friend made 50 cents. I think 50 cents is probably what most people are making. Some people I do know are making up to $1.50. I've got another friend that he was making $1.50 a book. They just didn't sell that many books. So let's just go with his number and let's factor in $1.50. So you're after the advance is paid back, you're making that 10%. And we're going to do all our projections off that, just to be fair. The royalty on self-publishing, I think you can clear about 60% off that. You can crack that. And I'm factoring that off of 60%, selling it at wholesale. So let's say that book cost us $4 to get out the door, and we're selling it at 10, like I did in my example. So we're going to say we're making 60%, not higher. The profit per sale, $6 to $9. I'm going to use that $6 number here in a moment to show you a comparison. Okay, so here's what it means. Grab that chart. If you are watching, if you look down below, all these slides are available for you. You can download them, you can print them, you can make notes on top of them. That's why we provide them for you, because I encourage you to do that and to take what you need and make your own binder, your own book there that you're working through, your own playbook, your own guidebook. Here's the numbers of what all of this looks like, of what you can earn. Now, self-publishing on the top line, traditional publishing on the bottom. Lines 2 here are the second cluster, self on the top, traditional on the bottom. Okay, third cluster, self on the top, traditional on the bottom. You can see how we're doing this. Fourth, self on the top, traditional on the bottom. Okay, so let's just look at this. If we self-publish the book and we sell 100 books, our profit is $600. Now, again, you see how we factored that out. We got that going off of the least number that we would make, $6 a book, not $9, $6 a book. So again, let's give it the best shot, best case scenario. by projecting low. We don't want to project our profits high. We want to project our expenses high and our profits low so that we can build off of that and stay in the black. Most people do the other way around. They over inflate their profits and they underestimate their expenses, and that's just a recipe for disaster. So if we make $6 a book and we sell 100 books, we profited $600. Now, if we go the traditional publishing route and we make $1.50 a book, so let's just be generous, not 50 cents a book, we make $1.50 a book and we sell 100. After the advance is paid, we made $150. Now, look here, if we self-publish and we sell 500 books, so 500 takes us to $6 times 500, $3,000 profit. Okay, doing the self-published route, $3,000 profit. Going traditional, $1.50 a book, 500 books, $750 profit after the advance is paid. Let's go down and say what happens if we do 1,000 books. If we sell 1,000 books, like I did in that one transaction, which is not normal, by the way. So that I've only sold 1,000 books off in one shot, one time, like that, to a distributor. Sold them in bulk before, but that was kind of a silver bullet right there. So $6 a book times 1,000 books, $6,000 profit. If we're doing traditional publishing, right here, $1,000, $1.50 profit per after the advance is paid back, $1,500 profit. Now, that's where I'm saying it starts to really make a big difference. That's where you really start seeing it, especially if you start doing this month after month after month. Let me show you this. $6 a book. If we do 2,500 books, $15,000 profit just on the book. This doesn't count bumps, upsells, all the other things that we teach you how to do and amplify. If we sell it traditionally, $1.50 a book times 2,500 books, we've made $3,750. So that's a very different way of looking at it. Let me show you side by side profit per 100 sold. Here's visually $150 to $600. Traditional on the left and yellow, self-publishing on the right and orange. Let me show you another graphic here. Again, you have all these below, so you can print these out if you want to, or just scroll through and compare. So don't worry about we're clicking through too fast. If we sell 500, traditionally, we're going to make $750. Self-publishing, we're up at $3,000 profit. This is all just profit, not counting in the expenses. If we are selling 1,000 of them, this is where we start seeing a huge difference. 1,000 of them, traditionally $1,500 profit after the advance is paid back. Self-publishing, $6,000. If we keep going up, we sell 2,500. Now we're up at $15,000 profit. 15,000 versus about 3,750, I think was our magic number right there on the traditional publishing route. And then if we go up and we say, okay, we sell $10,000 or 10,000 books, you think about what that is, $60,000 of profit at $6 a book versus 15,000 if we are doing the traditional. So look at that. For traditional to match the profit you can make for self right there, to make $15,000, you've got to sell 10,000 of them traditionally. Self, you just got to sell 2,500. So you start seeing a big difference right there. Okay, here it is again. I want to add this final line to you as well. Now notice what's going on down here. I'm going to highlight that line for you. And just to show you, let's just kind of fill it up with the color right there, yellow. I want to show you the ability to upsell is unique to self-publishing. Now, I'm going to come back to that because that is the upsell and what we call the bumps and upsells. Don't worry about it if you don't know what those words are. We'll get to it in a moment. Those are going to be unique to when you sell this stuff on your site, self-publishing. And that is really where most of the money is made. There's not a whole lot of money in books. Now, these look like fantastic numbers, but the majority of the money that you're going to make is on the back of the book, not on the book itself. We'll talk about marketing the book in a little bit. So here's other things you need to remember is the profit per book. I'm doing all my projections. I always do it off of $6 profit per book, not the $9, not more. The profit per ebook is generally about $8 to $9. Where do I get that? Well, you can sell an ebook for about $9 to $10. And when you sell the ebook, it's digital. If you're using that through a website, your only cost is operating the website and there's going to be a little bit of a credit card processing fee, and then it's boom, instantly they're there. $10 to $15 profit per audiobook. Why is that? It's because if you sell it off your website, it is almost all profit too, because really you've only got the cost associated with operating the website, and you've got the cost associated with credit card processing fee. Okay, so what has changed so far? Distribution. The only thing in the past was bookstores. Now 70% of book sales occur online. Royalties. The game changes if you hit that magic number of 1,000 copies, because you start seeing this major difference in profit. And remember, it's not just the profit on the book. What we're going to teach you how to do is to sell other things off of the back of the book. Here's another thing that's changed. The cost to publish is radically different. Now, on this one, there is a trade-off. The trade-off is a traditional publisher covers these costs, but then I just asked the question here, at what cost do they cover these things? So a traditional publisher is going to eat the cost of they're going to pay you a little bit for your time. You might get an advance, um, but honestly, if you think about that, 10,000 is the average advance if you get one. Still, it's going to take probably 2 years to get the book written, and then to get the book to print. By the time you add up the writing time, you add up, the 9 to 12 months that it takes them to get that book from turn in to turn out to the shelf. At what cost? Here are things that you need. 7 things I've identified to write the book. These are costs to publish. Writing the book, that's a cost. Now I know you think, well, it's just time. It is. Editing the book is a cost. Cover design, that's cost. Formatting, you got to make the words that go onto your Word document or your Pages document if you're using Apple, or Google Sheets or Google Pages or whatever it is, whatever you're using. You got to make those words look like a book. You got to promote it. You got to do that whether you self or traditionally publish. You're going to need a web design. By the way, you're probably going to need a website on your own, even if you go to a traditional publisher. Social media, all that, you're going to have to eat that either way. Let's just actually look at the cost. So in the middle here, these are cost if you do it yourself. On the right is cost if you pay somebody to do it. Okay, so if you do it versus if you hire somebody to do it. So cost right here. Writing the book, it could be your time, or you can hire a ghostwriter. That could be anywhere from 10,000 to 35,000. Here's what's funny. I had a guy that was talking to me about ghostwriting the book one time. I was like, I was familiar with this message, so I thought I could do it for 10 and crank it out probably in a couple weeks. And he was like, man, that's too expensive. Now this was 5 months ago. He still hadn't written that book. He doesn't have a way to write that book. And so when you think about paying somebody, think about what you're paying for. If you sat and did that book and it took you months and months and months to do it, free time, weekends, whenever you're cramming it in, it might be worth, especially if you get something that covers all this other. An editor, you can do it. You can get friends to do it. You can outsource it. One guy quoted me $5K to edit one of my bigger books one time. You can hire editors to do it. There are all kinds of editors. There's content editors. There's copy editors. There are editors that are going to check your sources. You can work through that, but you might be able to get away with just kind of the low end right there if you do it yourself, or if you hire a package, hire a program like Amplify does. Graphics and cover design. I have not paid for cover design because I've always done that myself, or had somebody in my family that can do that. Beth has designed a lot of our covers. Kind of tell her what I want, and then she does it. Graphics could be anywhere from $250 to $1,000 to get your cover design done. The format, you got to make it look like a book. We've got a template that we use. So we just drop the stuff into the template and then it's ready to go. If you don't have the ability to do that, it could be 1,000 to 2,500. Of course, you got to promote it. You can hire people to do that. You got to do the web design. Getting a website sometimes includes the promotion, and sometimes they'll do the social media for you. That could be anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 there. The traditional publisher will cover some of this, but they're not going to write the book for you. You're going to have to write the book. They're going to edit that book for you. They'll absorb that. They'll get the graphics and they'll do the cover for you. They'll format it and make it look like a book. But what I'm showing you here is really they're eating that 1,000, that 1,250, that 1,000. So they're eating about $2,000, $2,250 here to what would be $10,000 of expense that you could probably do yourself or outsource. Again, they're not going to write the book for you. So when you start looking at the cost of what you're getting, you are getting their expertise. You're getting an editor. You're getting some graphics. You're getting it formatted into a book. But most of the stuff, it is all on you. Pro tip then, if you can do the work, or if you can learn how to do the work, you can save money. If not, it's well worth hiring some of the help for some of those pieces that are there in place. Okay, so things have changed. We've talked through distribution. The only thing in the past was bookstores. Now 70% occurs online. Royalties, that game changes dramatically when you hit those 1,000 copies. The cost to publish, the trade-off is the traditional publisher will do it, but they are not going to crack this nut of writing the book for you. You've got to write the book. They're probably not going to build you a website. You got to do some of that. So the pro tip is learn what you can or hire some of the rest, barter, trade, whatever. Number 4, the final thing that has changed here is the time. The time has changed, and self-publishing wins at, quote, speed to market and the ability to move forwards into profitability. Let me explain what I mean by this last one, the time and what it takes. We've alluded to it a little bit here, but here's what has to happen. You write the book, or you hire someone to write it for you, and the time on how long it takes to write the book, that varies. That variable is the same whether you self-publish or traditionally publish. You have to get the words on the screen. That's the same. Number 2 is a traditional publisher then will take your words, and it will take 9 to 12 months from the time you turn the manuscript in until they tinker, edit, go back and forth with you a little bit, eventually format it, slap it, spin it, flip it, upload, move it to the printer, and then see it on the shelf 9 to 12 months later. A hybrid model, now there are some hybrid models that are kind of a blend of traditional and self. I've worked with one of these before. If you want to get in touch with a hybrid model, you do have some expense on the front end, but man, they will do a professional bang up job. It generally takes them about 2.5 to 3 months. If you're going hardback, they can do a paperback a little bit faster, and they'll do some of the editing for you. Again, you can outsource that. I've got a great contact for you that I can put you in touch with. It'll take about 2.5 to 3 months. That's better than 9 to 12 months, but you still got to write the book. Now look at this. Self-publishing, it depends on you. You control this final one here. You control the time. You control the speed to the market. Self-publishing, it depends on you. Let me give you a real life example. This is a book right here that my dad taught, Heaven Bound. That's the working title. He taught this 12 lesson study, producing his notes week to week as he was teaching it at his church. I took 1 week once I had all the notes. Okay, so eventually the study's done. He gets all the notes. He and my mom drive to our house. They hang out with me in bed for a couple days. During that time, I look at all the notes, make sure that I've got them on Dropbox. I take them, and with my mom sitting here in the office, I cut, paste, drop them into a book template. So it's a format that I've already made. I start formatting those words, kind of show her what I'm doing, and then they leave. And over the next couple days, I continue working on it. I then give Beth the picture right there that I shot when we were on a trip to Austin, Texas. And I say, hey, let's make the cover based on the target market for that book. Let's make it very simple. Now, this is still a working title, and this is still a working cover in process. I'm literally shooting this while we're in the middle of this project. She designed it. It took her about 30 minutes on Photoshop. We uploaded the cover and the book, the PDF, one afternoon. So finally get all this together. 24 hours later, we ordered a copy. They ran it through their print check. We had it in hand on our front porch 2 days later. I've got the book at my house. My mom and dad have a copy of the book that we are now looking at. We're making adjustments on that book, and it is published in less than 2 weeks. All of that. Okay, now if that had gone through a traditional publisher, probably wouldn't have gotten an advance on that book. We would have sent it to them, 9 months later, maybe we might have that book. But in the meantime, he's got some workshops he's teaching at churches. He's got some other events unrelated to this where he's going to take the book and sell that. He's got some people that have been through that initial study that want to go through again. And so he's going to be able to give them kind of a better updated version. Now, the first time that he did this, look at number one, he used his notes. He handed them out some notes from week to week. Yeah, there were a few typos in there. There were a few things in the notes that, he did the best he could. He could say a little bit better. He learns more. He's kind of adapting as he goes. Sometimes he would get to like week 5 and go, oh, now I'm learning this that I wish I would have shared on week 2. That's okay. That's part of the process. You create it. And then we get to the final book, we can adjust, we readjust, we move this stuff around. Word we'll use in a moment is we assemble and reassemble. So the speed to market, you don't have to do it in 2 weeks, but you control it.